Capricorn, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits, and I let you know how they're going to aspect your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line. We're going to start off really broad with the charts of the week, and then I'm going to focus that into Capricorn specific information, and then I will break everything down into the 3 decans of Capricorn to tell you how your natal sun is being aspected by all these other energies and what that means for your bottom line. To enjoy these messages, all you need to know is your birth date. Everything else I will translate for you. This is for the week of August 30th through September 5th of 2023. And there's a lot happening. So sit back, kick up your feet, because we're in it for the long haul. On the 30th, today, there is a full moon. That is a super moon, which means the moon is closer proximity to the earth, so it seems like it's bigger. It also means that pull of that moon is going to be stronger on us. It's a blue moon as well. That's because our calendar isn't in direct sync with nature. So sometimes every 2.5, 3 years, we get a blue moon. And that means what? That there's 2 full moons in the same month. We have our first full moon August 1st. Now we have our blue moon on the 30th. This is a moon in Pisces. So it is extremely emotional and it's extremely psychic. So if you trust anything at this time, you trust your psychic connection. And psychic connection connects us directly to our God space and our infinite powers and wisdom. But this moon is also conjunct to Saturn, and that directly impacts you, Capricorn, because that is your ruling dignitary. Now, Saturn is in Pisces for the next 2.5 years at this point. So it's a very conflicting energy with Saturn in Pisces, and we talked about it, but basically it's how do I make reality out of dreams? Well, it's hard, and it's extremely frustrating. It's like, how do I make the intangible tangible? Einstein figured it out, E equals mc squared. You can take the intangible and make it tangible, but it is hard work. And we're going to feel it. We're going to feel it because when the Saturn conjuncts the moon, there's this contradiction of what I feel versus what I can do. Is it in sync? It's not actually versus, it's combining, but these energies don't like to combine. They don't combine easily. It's really forcing us to make sense out of our feelings, to make something tangible out of our dreams. And it is, of course, all full moons are in opposition to the sun. So it's really challenging. How do I feel about myself? The sun opposite Saturn is challenging energy. It's like always feeling like, why so strict? Am I as good as I think I am? Am I living up to potential? Am I being too hard on myself? All of these questions come out. And now the moon comes in to make it even more voluminous. So this is sort of that pimple coming to a head when it just sort of pops, and it allows us to release all this tension, this sadness, this fear, this anger, this hatred, this bitterness. It allows it to be released, get the spew out of our way, so we can start making room to allow ourselves to be ourselves and allow ourselves to receive. Because I think the problem is, at least emotionally, there's a lot of bitterness and sadness and anger and frustration getting in the way of letting new things come in. So this is a very emotional period right now. Absolutely. The full moon is also semi-square to Chiron, because Saturn is semi-square to Chiron. And what does that teach us? Hurt feelings of not feeling good enough, feeling like we'll never be enough. This is the time to release all that. The moon is giving us that chance. Uranus went in retrograde yesterday on the 29th. So now we have Uranus in retrograde. That's really interesting energy, because basically what it says is we're gonna be able to surprise ourselves. We're going to be able to see, what do we need to do differently? How do we need to construct who we are, reconstruct it, not do the same things? And we'll find ourselves being way more rebellious of our own internal systems because maybe they just don't work anymore. We need to switch it up. That's retrograde through January. The sun opposite Saturn actually clears this week on the 2nd, definitely by the 3rd. So this week goes through the 5th. By the end of this week, thank God that energy has cleared. This sense of feeling like I can be myself again and I can be happy in my own skin and not constantly comparing myself, measuring myself, judging myself, critiquing myself. By the end of this week, by the 30th, 31st, so by today, Mars opposition to Neptune is clearing too. It's going to be within, for most of this week, about 6 to 7 degree orb, which some astrologers do still consider forming that aspect. But I don't really think it's going to be that powerful after 5 degrees. 5 degrees is really my toggle point. So by the end of this week, we clear that too, which is jumping at shadows, getting angry at nothing, or putting our energy, overworking ourselves to prove ourselves for something that wasn't worth it. Fine. Things are actually better than I think you think. We have Venus square Jupiter all week. Okay. That's tough energy because it's self-soothing. It's kind of like, let me indulge to make myself feel good. But a lot of overspending could be pointed out to you right now. A lot of overindulgence and the scale not being right, making you also feel pressured like, I'll never get it. No, you'll never get it without discipline. And Venus square Jupiter is the most undisciplined energy ever. It's just like, no, I just want to party and just feel good, more pleasure. And that's what we got to kind of get in check, to be honest with you. On the 4th, Jupiter goes into retrograde. Damn! Now we have basically all major energies, all major planets either in retrograde. My dog is snoring, but he's got a whistle snore. All major energies kind of in retrograde or in shadow, because Venus, hello mama. Venus comes out of retrograde on the 4th. It goes direct, but she's still in shadow. She's still not moving at her regular energy. So Mars really marked as the only energy now that isn't in shadow or in retrograde. And Mars is in Libra, which is in detriment, which is like Mars doesn't move fast, doesn't make progress. The progress Mars makes in Libra is to balance things out and find an equilibrium again. And that's not easy work. It's not that Mars isn't using its energy, but it's just for stuff that isn't going to it's not show, it's not huge, it's not big, it's not angry. If Mars gets angry about anything in Libra, it's injustice. It's when things aren't balancing. And so it's time to slow down. And it's time to expect less and get ready to receive more, which is hard. And the more difficult it is for you, it will point out some things in you that you have to work on, especially control issues. What do you mean I don't get to dictate what I receive? Allow the universe to show you what it has in store for you. Trust that that's going to lead you to a good place. And that's very hard to do. But with all this retrograde energy, I hate to tell you, it's your only choice. And I think a lot of us have problems with that because we like to be in control. Mercury retrograde conjuncting the sun by the 3rd, which is really brilliant energy. You know, it's like ready to accept and understand knowledge and information and even move a little bit slower and look at things, not in reverse, but in retrospective, to catch yourself up. It could really be healing energy, to be honest with you. Let's go into Capricorn specific energy. So how do I know that? Well, I just look at what's going on in Capricorn, the zodiac sign, and then I look at what's going on with your ruling dignitary. So let's talk about that. We have Pluto at 28 degrees. That's in Capricorn at 28 degrees. Pluto is huge energy, and it's interesting because it spent over a decade in Capricorn, and then it retrogrades back. And that's what you'll see. Really, Pluto is the generation. Pluto marks generations. That's what Pluto marks. And you'll see that there are some people that are like past the basic generation point. And that's because Pluto has that retrograde period where it leaves one sign, goes into another, but then retrogrades back for months at a time. And anybody born there will have the same energy as the original group. They'll have that plutonic energy of this is what I destroy and this is what I create. It's really interesting. I love to look at that kind of generational astrology that way. But Pluto is currently in Capricorn, which means it's conjunct to the natal suns of those of you in the third decan. So born toward the end of Capricorn season, basically the Aquarius cusp. This is mind-boggling change energy. But it's not change that necessarily happens to you. It's change that you create because you've changed inside. It's finding your power and not being afraid of your darkness, which makes you more powerful, not less. It's not letting your darkness control you. It's assuming all of you instead of just the easy to like pieces of you. And oh my God, does that make you so powerful and potent. And your life will change a lot during these years. Capricorn 3s, they already have. You've already felt it. Saturn, what's going on with Saturn? Well, Saturn is in Pisces, and we talked a little bit about, how that's difficult energy, and it is, but it's also glorious energy. It's really when new things have a chance to be born. New idea, not the same recycling of the same old shit. And that's what Saturn likes to do. Whatever other freaking zodiac sign it's in, Saturn likes to be like, oh, what's already here and what can I just make money out of? No. Saturn in Pisces is there's nothing already here. What? What do you mean? What? Yeah, you got to be ingenuitive. You got to be creative. You got to do things you've never done before, and you've got to be so brilliant, Einstein brilliant, E equals MC squared brilliant. You got to take those dreams and you got to make them into reality. That's it. It's your only choice with Saturn and Pisces. That's why it's a very difficult energy, but it's also magical. Something out of nothing. But there's not really nothing in Pisces, is there? Because what is absolutely in Pisces is unlimited potential. And I think that does, once again, scares a lot of people because there's nothing already constructed to grab onto. No, you got to start from scratch. So that's, Saturn is in retrograde at 3 degrees Pisces. It is going to be in opposition to the sun, which means it's challenging you and what you think of yourself and how good you think you are at something. Maybe it's being excessively critical about who you are right now. Not the easiest time. That's through the 2nd of this week. It is in a long-term semi-square to Chiron, which means that there is this urgency, that there's this almost nagging sense of, will I ever be good enough? Will things always be too difficult for me? Is this ever going to work out? All of those things are a lot more likely for you now. And that's definitely over the next year. Chiron seeks to teach. Both Chiron and Saturn actually do seek to teach. They are low. Chiron is a lower expression of Saturn. It's sort of, he's the personal trainer in there with you to kind of force you into those painful situations to see what it can create and how it can expand and grow you. But Chiron really does want to ultimately bring you to a state of a better version of you. And Saturn too. It just does it on a more, I think, community or global level. And, or just basically Earth in general. This is human life. Restrictions, rules, height, length, width. It's like the laws of physics. That's Saturn. Then we have a conjunction to the full moon on the 30th, which we talked about in depth. So it's a very busy week for Saturn. And a lot of energies will be pushed in your face about, am I good enough? Do I need to get better at something? Where do I need more discipline? And where do I need to cut myself some frickin' slack to recalibrate and rebalance those things and let yourself finally be sort of rid of the bitterness and the sadness. This is what this full moon can help you release. So let's get into the decans, shall we? Capricorn 1s, if you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees, Capricorn, you are Capricorn 1s. This correlates to Capricorn birthdays that are in December. So December 22nd to December 31st basically is a Capricorn 1. Your natal suns, and for all this year, are going to be sextile to Saturn, which means overall, throughout the year, exceptional energy to build out and grow and achieve in terms of your career, to build the things that you will care for and that you are proud of. This week, however, is quite busy for you because you are sextile to Saturn, which means well, hold on. It means you're also sextile to the full moon. That's what I wanted to say. And that means it's going to be but it's sextile. So this is a beautiful opportunity for you to clear all that stuff out and to really understand, where do I got to get more disciplined and where do I got to let release, and to allow yourself to be yourself again, to be imperfect, but continue to always learn. This full moon will empower you. It's a great opportunity for manifestation and to set yourself up for what you wish to manifest in the months to come. Your natal suns are also going to be trine to the current sun through the first of this week. So right after the full moon, the day right after the full moon. So what does that mean? Contentment with who you are, to reconnect with who you are, to feel your courage and your vitality restored, and really be able to start mapping things out for the next 6 months based on the truth of you and appreciation of yourself, instead of being too hard on yourself and grinding yourself to the ground. There could also be some harmony in romantic situations or situations that you didn't originally see or understand, suddenly understanding them. You also have a square to Mars, which can be pop-offish and try to push you to, but since Mars is in Libra, this is nice because you could be very much pushed to balance things out, but you may feel pushed too fast. Anytime there's a square to Mars, between the Mars and the Sun, you could be over impulsive. You can react to things more quickly and more angrily than you normally would. So just take that into consideration and ground yourself in Earth this week to help at least release all those free radicals and energies that are popping off in you. It'll help you out a lot. Let's go on to Capricorn 2. I'm sorry. Don't want to skip over you. Capricorn 2s. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Capricorn, you are Capricorn 2s. So that correlates to birthdays between January 1st and the 11th. You guys this is beautiful energy. You're trine to Jupiter, trine to the sun from the second onward. From the second, basically midweek onward. Your natal suns are trine the sun while being trine to Jupiter. Can you say optimism, energy, outlook, open-mindedness, creativity, all of those things? Beautiful, optimistic energy. You can get anything done energy, especially toward the end of the week. Also trine to Mercury retrograde. Dude, you're going to realize things, see them maybe for the first time, even though they've been there all along. This is a beautiful week of breakthrough for you. We have a spur in your side, though. This is a quincunx to Venus. That's okay, because that can be your inspiration. Anything that's rattling your cage when it comes to how you feel, your value systems, maybe spending too much money, maybe not paying enough attention to the beauty that's in front of you. All of those things could really be the thorn in your side that helps you grow and helps you expand. This is a wonderful time to resolve any issues, especially in your romantic relationships and situations. You'll really be helped out by this week and the optimism in this week. But definitely watch your pocketbook. Watch your pocket. Don't overspend and don't overindulge. That could be a little bit of a challenge for you this week. And then we have, in other words, because with a quincunx to Venus, you could feel more like, I need pleasure and I need it now, right? Instead of enjoying what you have and instead of insisting on more, right? Also, things could irritate you about the way that you look. Oh, I gotta change. You gotta slow down and appreciate. any kind of decisions you make with a challenging aspect to Venus, you're not going to like. You're just going to use it to instantly gratify yourself. And you won't feel good for that much you won't feel good for that much longer. So it's like you don't make any sharp moves when it comes to how you look or what you're attracted to or your relationship. But you do let yourself learn and understand why these feelings are coming up. And you have the most perfect energy to help you remedy that. For those of you born between the 9th and the 12th, your natal suns are square to Chiron. That means that for you guys especially, you are challenged when it comes to not feeling good enough or feeling like things are super hard for you all the time. It's only for the next year, I guarantee it. And when you come out on the other side, you will know so much more about who you are that you will be ready for anything. This is going to really try to help recalibrate what you know you're capable of. But times will be trying. Let's go on to Capricorn 3. So if you know that your natal suns are somewhere located between 20 and 29 degrees Capricorn, you are Capricorn 3s. This correlates to Capricorn birthdays between the 12th and the 22nd. So your natal suns are the ones conjunct to Pluto. So there is a formidable energy about you that ain't going to take no shit. And it's going to be like that for the next 2 or 3 years. Especially if you're at the cusp, because it'll still be conjunct your natal sun once Pluto goes into Aquarius again. Then we have a sextile to Neptune. These are all long-term and generational. And they'll be like that forever. Very ingenuitive and creative energy, connecting you with your psychic and creative abilities. So this is also a trine to Uranus right now. Listen, for some of you, especially born at the cusps, the trine to Uranus will get less for right now because it'll start moving further and further away. So it won't be as strong. It'll come back again, but ultimately a trine to Uranus is just uniqueness and finding your own originality and staking your own claim to your own uniqueness and getting more comfortable in your own skin, especially with Pluto, not really worried about the dark sides of yourself. This is a wonderful time to recreate who you are and be creative and ingenuitive. Next couple of years, 10 years. Your natal suns are also square to the nodes, which means that over the next 6 months, this is a game-changing time in your life. Yeah, it's a change. It's almost like you're turning a corner in your life, and you'll start to notice that you don't like the same things the way that you used to. That you don't like, the things that you used to feel so connected to. It's almost like you're connecting to the opposite now. And that's good because it means you're developing. By the end of the week, your natal suns are going to be sesquiquadrate. I always say that wrong. I call it sesquare. Which means you could have some issues with extreme behaviors. Because it's almost like egotism. Egotism, arrogance. It could be your default toward the end of this week. Or you could feel more put upon, like you are being challenged more and people aren't respecting you as much. That's challenging energy. It will pass within a week. It's not going to stay long. It's good to find smaller things about who you are to appreciate yourself. It's almost like looking in the mirror every day and saying, you are beautiful, you are loved, and whatever bullshit people throw at you today, you're going to come home to a safety of the home that you've built and the people who love you unconditionally. Some sort of mantra to remind you that you're the bomb or that you're loved and you're connected throughout this next week will just help with those challenging aspects. So you let me know in the comments below. And please, if you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with people who you think will like it too. And then remember to subscribe to this channel to help us grow here. And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card message. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos. Bye, Capricorn.